Happy Sunday. Where is everybody? Oh, cookie made my stomach hurt.
Yeah, no.
Like I had half of one. Don't be like I had another one. Can I have a cucumber? Okay. Put some salt on it. Happy Sunday. Did it even go on
Yeah.
Hi, Whit. Oh my gosh, Katrina is here. Hi, Margaret. Hi, Janet. Janet, I have a bone to pick with you, Janet. Hi, Cosette. Janet, where have you been? Mm-hmm. You laughing, but you've been MIA. Hi, Karen. Ah, you've been coming in late. Ooh. Anybody like cucumber and salt? How's everybody's week? I'm just eating some cucumbers. Cucumber vinegar. Okay. I like the avocado, but the like the Dominican one, it's the well, I don't know if it's Dominican one, but most of them come from the Dominican Republic. But they build, you hear me? They grow in other parts of the world too. But the big avocado is not the Haas one. It's like more watery. And that's I have to say that's my favorite avocado. And I eat that with some salt and vinegar, and it's so good. Hi, Arlene. Cosa says sharing is caring. Yes. Richter's making like tuna fish, and I like the cucumbers inside the tuna fish. Let me see. But everybody's week is good. I wanted to talk about contracts today, real estate contracts, because something came up yesterday, and I thought this would be a really good topic to talk about. So, my week was busy. Hi, Mark. My week was pretty busy. It was so crazy because Friday I was with one of my clients that this was the second time she had came up because she lives in the Miami area. And she was very specific in what she was looking for. And she wanted like to build from the ground up. She wanted only to be within 30 minutes from the airport. And she wanted to be within that $500,000 price point and have a gourmet kitchen option available. Because sometimes when you're building from the ground up, depending on the location, depending on the builder, they don't offer the gourmet kitchen option. So we were going back and forth on text. Sometimes text could be really, really dry, and she was getting really discouraged. But not long and behold, I told her, okay, there's this one builder where it's 30 minutes from the airport. You have the gourmet kitchen option. It has the 4 bedrooms, 3 baths, what you're looking for. And I can keep you within that very, very low $500,000 price point, closest to $500,000. And she's like, oh, but look, the sheet says the base price is at $500,000. So by the time this and this, I'm gonna be near $600,000. And I was like, listen, let's just go to the community, because I already talked to the agent and we got this. So we went to the community and she fell in love with the floor plan. She fell in love with the community, the gourmet kitchen, the lot. I got her the floor plan that she wanted, which the base price was in that $500,000. I think it was like 504. So that's base price. That's not including lot, gourmet kitchen, or anything. So I got her the floor plan with the lot, with the gourmet kitchen for $504,000. So she was so excited. She was like, I kind of got discouraged. Then I was like, well, I said, you chose me for a reason, right? Like, I got you. So we were able to make that happen for her. And this weekend is her and her husband's like 29th home anniversary. So it was just it was super cool that we were able to get her what she was looking for and what she needed. Now, I told her, listen, if you go to the design center and you start picking out everything and all this, then that's on you, right? So, but what I like about this builder is that their standard features are, a lot of their standard features are what would be upgrades in other builders' options. So you could literally have a really nice house, not even upgrade anything if you don't want to, right? They have the standard tile throughout the house except the carpet. They have the 5 and I don't know if it's 5 1/4 or 5 3/4. I can't remember the baseboards. The tile in the shower goes all the way up to the top, right? So stuff like that, where it would be an upgrade in other builders. With other builders, this one is not. So, did you put Dijon mustard?
Mhm.
Not bad.
Yeah.
Pretty good. I feel like it's a little dry, but maybe it's just me. It's Jones Homes. Jones Homes. They have some really nice, like I said, standard features. So what I wanted to tell you guys about the contracts is that, so I have a client who is looking for, oh man, we've been in contact for so long. He actually came to me because he worked with another real estate team. He found them on YouTube. He worked with them to get him at least 2 Ocala to rent, right? So he was going to rent. It just so happened that that house that he was about to rent, you guys are not going to believe this. That house wasn't even vacant. Okay, so nobody checked on the house to make sure everything was good. Like, it was a mess. So he had all his stuff in a moving truck and all that other stuff. So unfortunately, he had to go somewhere else and all this other stuff. So he said when he was gonna buy that he wasn't gonna use them, and that's why he called me. So we've been in contact for like maybe 5 months already, and just kind of coming up with a game plan to see what we need to do to make him be able to be approved for a house. So we got him approved for USDA loan, which is 100% financing. And I was negotiating for some closing costs. So I got him I was able to get him about $7,000 in closing costs, which for the most part is going to cover most of it, right? But what I want to tell you guys is that I was at the airport yesterday because I went to Jersey for the day to get my hair done. You guys know that I go to Jersey to get my hair done. So as you can see, your girl has long locks. So I was at the airport waiting to come back home, and I have him on Zoom and we're going over the contract. And I was like, okay, so there's this part in the contract where I don't like what it says, right? And it's the builder's contract. So the builders have different contracts, right? None of the builders use the same contract. And at the end of the day, the builder's contract is going to make sure the builder is protected. Like, let's be honest, right? So in the contract, I see appraisal contingency. Like, it's talking about an appraisal contingency, that this contract does not have an appraisal contingency. So if the buyer is not approved for what the house is, okay, let me try to put this in simple terms so I don't get you guys confused. So what happens is that when you're purchasing a home, you have the home appraised, right? The bank contacts an appraiser, the appraiser appraises the house, and when whatever the appraiser says that house is worth, that's the only number that the bank is going to lend you money on, right? So if the appraiser says that that house is worth, let's just say $350,000, they're not going to give you anything more than $350,000, okay? So in the contract, it said, if the house does not appraise for what you are under contract, okay, and even if the loan amount is different, you would have to come up with the difference. And I'm like, wait a minute. So that means if we're under contract for $350,000, but the house is appraised for $300,000, then my client has to come up with $50,000, even though the bank is not going to give him more than that $300,000 price financing, right? And I reached out to the builder's agent and I'm like, I need more clarification on this, because with the way I'm reading it is this. And she was like, well, yeah, it doesn't have, we don't have appraisal contingencies. And I was like, that's, we don't like how that reads, because if for whatever reason, you just never know. She was like, oh, I don't think, no, the builder is not having appraisal issues, not that I know of, right? But she was like, oh, but I don't think we'll run into that. I'm sorry. What you think is insufficient enough for me. Like, we need to make sure that we have an appraisal contingency attached to this. And there are some loans where FHA, you have appraisal contingencies, but I don't like the wording. And I'm like, I'd rather be extremely clear and not run into an issue, because I don't feel comfortable with being like, hey, I mean, they haven't had any issues, so there's you're 90% okay, right? But what if for whatever reason the appraiser was like, no, this is not worth this one, and then we have to try to get it appraised again, and sometimes that's a whole nother issue, right? So I talked to my buyer about it, and I was like, okay, let's wait to get more clarification from the builder's agent. And this morning the builder's agent reached out to me, and she was like, I think the USDA loan has a contingency attached with it. And I'm like, I still don't like the wording in this, right? Because it's the USDA financing contingency or appraisal contingency, is that going to supersede the builder's contract, right? Like, there's just too many things that are gray area and I'm just like, no. So we went back and forth, and then we ended up getting an appraisal contingency with the contract, right? So I just didn't like how the position that my buyer would be in if for whatever reason, it didn't appraise, right? So that's that. Sorry guys, I'm hungry. So although I'm not a licensed, what is that called, like a real estate lawyer, right? Like a lawyer who does the contracts and all that stuff that I'm reading it just doesn't make sense. We're gonna ask about, and if it still doesn't make sense, or if it's not in the best interest of my client, then we're gonna have to renegotiate that, because that's not okay, right? So ended up working out. So I'm happy about that, because the thing about it is that we're not in COVID years where people were waiving appraisal contingencies. They were being like, listen, I'll give you $50,000 over appraised value. Like, we're not in those times. And who has, even if it was $3,000 under appraised value, right? Like, who wants to give $3,000 for a house that somebody's saying it's only worth A, right? So always, I just encourage you, even if you don't use me as your realtor, and you have another real estate agent that they're going through that contract, and if something doesn't make sense, they're asking about it, right? Because I've seen way too many times where it's like, here you go, sign it, and then that's it. John said, hi, what are some rules and regulations with the HOA in Kalesa Township? Wait, that's a Wit question. Yeah. Wait, what would you say are some of the rules and regulations of with the HOA in Kalesa Township? Side note, so I was in Jersey yesterday, and you guys, I don't know if you remember, but I went over 3 months without eating white flour or added sugar. Oh my gosh, I had a bagel yesterday. The best thing ever.
Cinnamon?
That's cinnamon raisin. It's good. The raisins are not bad. I don't eat raisins like that either, but cinnamon raisin bagel is amazing. You want tuna fish? Let me roll. I don't know if Wait, I don't know if you can answer that, but okay, Whit said home appearance, lawn, and noise ordinance. They'll Whit said that he can email you a copy of the HOA book. Mm-hmm. Okay, so there's sometimes where, most of the time, if you're going to buy a resale home, you're using an ASIS contract here in Florida. If you're buying a brand new home in a community or with a bigger builder, they normally have their own contracts, okay? Now, a lot of the times in Ocala, specifically Marion Oaks, where you have so many different small builders, we use the ASIS contract. So when it comes to the ASIS contract, there are a few important items to always look out for, right? So you want to see what's included with the property. So let's say you it's a resale home, right? And in the MLS, it's saying that the washer and dryer is coming with the house, right? So you want to make sure that in the line, how about if let me bring one up for you so that you guys know what I'm talking about, because I know you guys are probably like, what is she talking about? And I just kind of want to give you an idea of some important aspects of the contract, the as-is contract. I'm not going through the whole entire contract, but I want to show you. Just let me get it for you. Hold on. Builders update. There we go. Just so I could show you guys and you have an idea. But this is always important to kind of know what you're signing, right? All right. All right, I'm gonna share my screen so that you guys could see it, but give me 1 second. Okay. All right, ready? Let's see, share screen. We're gonna do, okay. So this is the ASIS contract that we normally use on a resale home and new construction in Marion Oaks with a smaller builder, right? Again, if it's a bigger builder, they have their own contracts and we do not use the ASIS contract, okay? So this is for Florida. So the seller's name would go here. The buyer's name would go on the second line, okay? The street address, the tax ID, legal description, okay. But this is where I was talking about. On line 21, it's going to, we always put here what it says that it's gonna include in the MLS, right? So if it says that it's gonna be the refrigerator, the refrigerator, the microwave, the dishwasher, and the stove, and the washer and dryer, all that goes in here, right? But let's say that in the Realtor notes, it shows that, let's say garage and refrigerator and garage does not come with the house. So then we'll put that here, okay? So purchase price, this is what we're offering, right? So when we're doing an offer, this is what we're gonna put. So let's say if the house is coming in at is listed at $400,000, but we're offering $390,000, we're gonna put $390,000 here, okay? When you're purchasing a house, after you go under contract, you have to give in an earnest money deposit, aka a good faith deposit. Normally it's between 1 to 2% of the purchase price, or unless the seller is asking for something specific. But again, everything is always negotiable, okay? So whatever that is. So we're gonna put, let's just say we're doing a $400,000 house, okay? And then our deposit is gonna be $4,000, okay? This is normally due within 3 days after the effective date. So we just have this and we put 3. The title company's information will go here. The title company is the one who's going to handle all of the title search, the closing, everything, the documents. So that information goes in there. Okay. Oops. Where am I? Hold on. Okay. There we go. Now, if you were putting in an additional deposit, that would go there, but normally that's going to be 0. Financing. So let's say if you had an FHA loan and you were financing 3.5, your down payment would be 3.5%. You're financing 96.5%, right? This is going to give you an idea that your down payment is $14,000, right? But your $4,000 is already at the title company, so your balance just for the down payment is $10,000. Okay. Now we have time for acceptance. That's when our offer expires. Like, so for example, we normally give 48 hours. We'll put that this offer ends in 48 hours at a specific time, right? This is our closing date. Our closing date is when everything is final, right? You putting in your cash to close. If you guys have been following me and watching Monarch School of Real Estate, you know where your cash to close is, right? This is where you are getting the keys. Like, the house is going to be officially yours on this day, okay? Now, this is a really big one here too, assignability, right? So whether you're a buyer or a seller, this is an important thing to notice. So normally you want to put that it's not to be assigned, because what happens is, like, let's say if you have, sometimes when lower priced homes or homes that have to are like what is that word called, where what is that word when you need TC, what's that word, babe? It needs some loving. What's that word? What's the acronym? Where you need loving on the property. Huh? Tender loving care, really? There's 3 letters and I can't freaking figure it out. TLC. Yes. Oh yeah. TLC. Yeah. TLC. Yes. Okay. There we go. So what happens is that sometimes wholesalers will put this here, right? May assign and thereby be released from any further liability under this contract, which basically means is that they can assign this contract to someone else. They're basically selling this contract to someone else, right? So I always check this, right? And even when I'm looking at offers for my sellers, when I'm selling a house, I'm always looking for this, because if it's anything else, that brings up questions like, why would you need to assign it to anyone else? Okay. So this is the financing portion of the contract. Okay. So if this is a cash transaction, there's no finance contingency when it comes to cash. Okay. So if it's cash, we'll click A. If it's not cash and you're doing a conventional FHA, VA, USDA, then we're going to click this. What happens is that you're going to have a loan approval period, which basically means is that during this period is where you would be doing your mortgage application. The lender is going to be getting the appraisal. You're going to be getting a conditional approval. Now, what is a conditional approval? So a conditional approval is where the underwriter comes back and says, okay, we are approving you, but you have to clear these conditions, right? So sometimes a condition would be that you have to sell your home, right? Because sometimes you have to sell your home in order to buy a home. Let's say another condition may be, what's another good condition? You have to explain something, right? That's on your credit, or that you paid this off. Why is that type of thing? Okay. So that's what a conditional approval is. And guys, when you're under contract, sometimes it gets so just overwhelming and frustrating because the lender is asking for multiple things and you're like, well, I just sent them that. I know, but it's a headache, but I promise you it's always worth it at the end. Okay. So this is basically just your financing portion of it. Whether you have a fixed rate, whether you have an adjustable rate, whether you have a 30-year term, okay, things like that. So buyer shall, what's that, baby? Yeah, you could drink juice. This is basically where you're making the application for the lender within the 5 days from the effective date. Okay. Now, this is a whole bunch of stuff. I told you I'm not going through everything. I'm just going through the main important things that I feel. Now, this is a good one too. So closing costs, fees, and charges. So normally, closing costs to be paid by the seller is document stamp taxes, transfer taxes, owner policy, title searches, HOA estoppel fees, recording fees, things like that, okay? Now, what is always, and you guys are not realtors, and I know this, but if you ever like looking at a contract, right? You always want to, if you're the seller, you want to look into here too, because sometimes realtors are very, very sneaky, and they'll put like, if they're charging a transaction fee, they'll put it in here for the seller to pay, right? Or if they're asking for something, I've seen where they put it in there. So you just have to be careful about. And then these are costs to be paid by buyer: closing costs, taxes and recording fees, owner policies and charges. Only if, let me see, 9A. Yeah, only if so this is only if you're choosing the title company. The seller is normally the one choosing the title. The title company. Okay, so loan expenses, appraisal fees, inspections, things like that, right? You have title insurance, which happens within normally 15 days in the ASIS contract. So what happens is the title, evidence, and insurance. That's basically where the title company is looking at everything, right? They're getting the documents needed for if there's an HOA. It's called an estoppel, right? And that basically the HOA sends them all the documentation, making sure that everything is, what their fees are and things like that. If there's open permits or liens or judgments, I'm going to tell you guys a story real quick. So I got an email from one of my listings. So I'm representing the seller because, guys, I don't only help people buy houses, I help people sell. I help my clients sell their houses as well. So we got an email that there was judgments and liens on associated with my client, right? And when I opened up that document and I saw it was talking about like there were judgment liens for like jail and drugs and all of that stuff, and I'm like, that don't sound like my client. Like that just, I think they got mixed up with somebody, right? So the first thing I went to my client and I was like, hey, I said, you have a middle name? And she was like, no. And I was like, okay. I said because there's someone who has your name but has a middle name, and I end up the document, and she almost had a heart attack. She was like, that is not me. I've never ever been to jail. I've never done this. I never was charged with anything, right? So this is what the title company does. They are searching what is associated with this property, okay? So title companies are extremely important. So if that happens in this case of my client where someone has the same name as her, however, has a middle name, they just have to sign a document being like, that has nothing to do with them. Okay. So we were just like, oh my gosh. No judgment, right? But all right. We don't have cream. Daddy didn't buy cream cheese? Ask Daddy. Or make a sandwich. Daddy brought ham. Yeah, or eat it with butter. Okay, so this is where the title company comes into play, right? So normally the seller is gonna choose the title company. If the buyer wants to choose the title company, they can, but then they are going to be responsible for paying what the seller would normally pay for. Okay. The survey gets done. If you're going to finance, that's a must. It's mandatory. But if you're paying cash, you don't necessarily need to order a survey for your property. I recommend it, especially if you're going to put a fence in and things like that. Home warranty, this is if we're asking for a home warranty, right? So that is very important just to see. Normally the new construction homes are coming with home warranties, right? If it's if it's an older resale home, then maybe we would ask for a warranty and then to be paid by the seller, right? What else? This portion right here is just basically, so normally you always want to see this one checked, right? Because if there's any assessments, HOA, CDD, the seller should be the one who's paying the installments due prior to closing, and then the buyer is the one who's going to take it on afterwards. Okay. These are all just kind of disclosures, different disclosures depending on where the house is, depending on how old the house is, right? You may need different disclosures. If the house has an HOA, you're going to have a HOA disclosure, and in the HOA disclosure is going to have what the HOA is, if with the fee amount, who's the contact person for the HOA, right? So coming down here, if the so a lot of this just is it's just on case by case basis. Okay, now this is extremely important, guys. Property inspection. This is your inspection period. Okay, so normally the inspection periods are like 10 days on a resale home or even on a new home, but with the ASIS contract. So an inspection period is where you are able to have the house inspected. If you decide, you know what, I woke up and today is raining and I don't want this house anymore, it's not for me, this is the period to feel that way, right? Because you can cancel and then get your deposit back. If you cancel outside of this inspection period, and it's not because you got a loan denial, then the seller can try to fight you on getting your deposit back. Okay, so this inspection period is where it protects you. So for whatever reason, if you decide you don't want this house anymore, you can cancel and get your deposit back. Now, you do have a financing contingency, this a part of this contract. And the financing contingency is basically if you are not approved, you don't have a final loan approval, you get denied, then you are not obligated to purchase this house and you get your deposit back. Okay. And let me see if there's anything else that I feel like, oh my gosh, you must know. So that's basically it. And again, this section is going to be all of the different disclosures that are here, right? That we have. We have homeowners, HOA disclosures. We have if it's in a 55 and over community. If you have a house to sell, right? So these are all some addendums. And then additional terms is a great portion to look at too. This is where most of the time, if a buyer's okay, so if you're a buyer and you're asking for closing costs, it would go here. If you're a seller and the buyer's asking for closing costs, it would be in here, right? And then this is basically just the ASIS contract that we use. I hope that it kind of helped you a little bit just to kind of understand it, right? Again, I am not a lawyer, but I just wanted to kind of give you an idea because it gets overwhelming when you're under contract, when you have to read this contract, right? And like I said, we're not in an attorney state where they handle everything. We have a title company, but you can hire an attorney if you wanted to, and they would work with the title company. I see some stuff here. Hold on. Karen. All right, hold on. Billy, the only bagel. Billy, is the only bagel you eat is the cinnamon raisin one? Hi, Tata. I gotta call you, Tata. Karen said, Colessa Township is where I'm looking to build my forever home. I'm praying that what I heard on another YouTube channel about the area is correct and that there will still be lots available in 2030, 2031. Wait, when do you, I mean, there's more phases coming up, right? Like, wait, when do you think Colessa Township will be done building? Of course, we don't know what those prices look like or what they will look like in 2030, right? But do you think there will be more phases? Billy said 2030 will be a different planet. Mm-hmm. All right, hold on. Hi, Louis. Okay, let me see if I can understand this. I sold my house in Miami and I want to buy in Ocala. ¿Podría comprar si pongo un 50% cash sin tener un trabajo en Ocala? So that is going to be, you're going to have to talk to a lender to see how you would be able to structure that. If it would be, because it would be hard, it would be really hard to purchase a house, even if you're putting 50% down and not have a job. So what would your source of income be? Oh, you put it in English. Okay. Where does it show who pays the buyer's agent commission? That's actually a great question, JP. So that's going to be on a different document. So that document, and I'll just show you guys what it looks like. Hold on. All right. So that document looks like, sellers. Okay. So this is what this is what it looks like. So the seller, the buyer is not actually seeing this because the seller, this is where we're negotiating that the seller is paying the buyer's agent's broker, right? So this is the document that they would sign, and then this is where the buyer's broker compensation would be here. So it just depends on how you have it structured. I hope that helped. Was this helpful for you guys? You know, I'm just my goal is always to provide as much value as I possibly can, and I know that you know, there's just so many different things, but I kind of just want you to have an idea of what to look forward to when you're doing an ASIS contract, or when you are buying a house and you have a contract, right? Never sign anything that you do not understand, right? You have to have clarity on it. JP said, but how do I know what to offer if I don't know if I have to pay the buyer's commission? So JP, that's a conversation that you have to have with your agent prior, right? Because the agent should have already, if you're thinking about a house that you like, the agent should have already been in contact with the listing agent and seeing like, hey, are you paying buyer's agent's commission, right? And if they are, they'll be like, yeah, we're paying X amount. Now, if that is not what your buyer's agent charges, right, and they charge a little bit more and they're asking you to cover the difference, then that's when they're going to have that conversation with you. Or sometimes you could just be like, hey, sometimes the buyer's agent would still put what they charge on that form I showed you, and the seller could either accept it or not. Let me give you an example. One of my sellers that I'm helping them sell their house and I'm helping them buy, they're actually moving to like the Ocala area. I negotiated a certain percentage for commission, right? And I'm always just mindful. I'm not greedy, especially when I know that I'm going to help you buy a house as well, right? Because at the end of the day, let's keep it real. Realtors, and not all realtors are created equally, okay? Because I've seen some pictures where I'm just like, what in the world? Like, it's not professional. It's, you have the toilet seats are up, you have people in the photos and all that other stuff, what have you. Okay. But anyways, so I charge a certain percentage. Now, the buyer's agent that came to me and submitted an offer on that sheet, they gave it to me. They asked me what my seller was offering. I told them what they were offering. However, they charged their buyer something else, right? They charged their buyer something else. So they put whatever they charged their buyer on that sheet, even though I told them that this is what the seller is paying, okay? But then it comes down to, and this is just I'm gonna keep it 100 here. It comes down to the possibility, which is not ethical, right? But if the buyer's agent could definitely be like, okay, well, you're not trying to give me what I'm asking for. I could tell my buyer that we don't have a deal, that the sellers decided, you know what? No, I'm good. The buyer's agent could tell their buyer anything that they want, right? And I'm not saying it's ethical, right? But we wouldn't know. So I told my seller, I was like, listen, you have the opportunity, you could pay them this, and then we go lower on what they're asking for as far as closing costs are concerned, right? Because my seller was already about to be like, I mean, should we even like do tit for tat on money? I'm like, I mean, if you saving $2,000, I mean, $2,000 is $2,000, right? So it ended up working out anyways. But yeah, it's just negotiation comes into that, and just experience as well, right? All right. Whit said, we will be building for another 10 years. Buy now and get with the rental team. Eileen said, hi, the best realtor out there. Oh, my girl. Me and Eileen have been in contact for so long. Like literally, so long. As long as my hair. You guys see this? Oh my gosh, inches. They do such a good. Okay, side note. We have been in contact for so long, guys. And, we kept in contact, and they are closing on their house next week. I'm super excited. Thank you for trusting me, Eileen. This is very helpful. Hi, Kelly. Katrina said, best realtor ever. I don't know, Katrina, because Katrina is a licensed agent now. She's going to be handling the Tampa area. So Wesley Chapel, Tampa, Lando Lakes. Was it Lando Lakes, Katrina? Lutz. So all of that, like that Tampa area, she's going to be in that area. She's going to be servicing that area. So what we're doing is you're gonna start to see her on the channel, right? So she's gonna start showing you guys properties in that area. She's amazing. She's from New York, just like I am. The vibe. I would not put anybody on my channel if I didn't believe in them, if I didn't feel that they were genuine, and keep it 100 and keep our clients always as number one. Okay, so I'm super excited for her. She's a part of the Evolve Estates group as a realtor, and she's going to be in the Tampa area: Lutz, Lando Lakes, Tampa, St. Pete, Clearwater, Wesley Chapel, etc. So I'm super excited for her. I can't wait to introduce her to everyone on my channel. She's absolutely beautiful. So I'm super excited. So if you guys are interested in those areas, then it's going to be Katrina is going to be the one who's going to be helping you out in that Tampa, St. Pete's area. So I'm super excited for her. I'm super excited for the Evolve Estates group. All right. All right. People are saying this is a good thing. Good. I'm glad. My job is to educate you guys, right? I always have a lot of people like, hey, what is your opinion? And I'm like, listen, it depends on what your goal is. Let me kind of give you a little scenario. So I have one of my sellers who I helped him buy a house in 2022. I want to say 2022, yeah. And it was a short-term rental, and he's just over it already. He's over the short-term rental. He just kind of wants a house he wants to be bi-coastal, right? But him and I have been in, like, we've grown a relationship, so we're friends. And I love this part of it, right? Because where he'll call me and he'll be like, okay, let's talk about this offer. What do you think about it, right? And I just keep it 100, right? And if you don't know what keeping 100 is, it's just keeping it real, keeping it truthful, right? And I'm like, listen, this is what I would do, this, and this, and that, right? And, he was going back and forth. He was undecided. He's like, do I really want to sell it, right? And I had to be like, listen, he said, do I really want to sell it? What would you do, Alexis? And I said, well, what would I do if I was feeling how you were feeling and how you are over the short-term rental, dealing with guests and all of this other stuff? Then I would do it. You don't have to buy another house now, right? If maybe now is not the right time for you financially, that's okay, because you're not going to be homeless, because this is an investment property, okay? You still have your home. So if now is not the best time to purchase a house, but what we're getting is still good, right? And it was more of that dialogue. This is how I like to work with my clients. It's a dialogue. We're a team. Like, let's bounce ideas off of each other, right? Because I may be thinking this perspective, and then you have a different perspective, and I'm like, okay, let's talk about it. Let's see what's going to be in the best interest of you, because at the end of the day is you're the one who makes the decision, right? So that's the kind of relationship I like to have with my clients. Like, just let's have an open dialogue. Let's be able to have a conversation. Let's bounce ideas off of each other, right? Hi, Jose. I don't know if I said hi already. Okay, hold on. Kelly said, if you want to build a new house, but you want to build a new house, but you want to time it close to retirement, how much time should you allow? So it's a few different variables, okay? Are you doing a to-be built, where you want to build from the ground up, right? In that case, you want to give yourself at least, I would say, a good 8 months, right? Because you have permitting and all of this other stuff. If you want to move in ready home, well, those are really quick. You can close in 30 days, right? Sometimes even less. So it's going to depend on what you want. Now, I have clients, and this is, man, I'm super blessed. I'm super blessed with the people who have contacted me, who have trusted me. So I have this couple who they're from Chicago, right? And she is just, oh my gosh, she's amazing. She is just keeps it real with me and all this other stuff. Anyways, she did not intend to love Beverly Hills, Florida as much as she did. Before she even came out here, she thought that Ocala was where it was at. Like that's where she was going to buy. But I said, how about you go check out Beverly Hills? Now, what I really appreciated from her was that she respects my time, right? Because she was like, listen, Alexis, I don't need you, just make the appointments for me so that you're registered as my real estate agent, and I'm gonna go check it out because I don't want to waste your time. And I was like, well, I respect that, thank you so much, right? So we did exactly that, and she fell in love with Beverly Hills. Beverly Hills is beautiful. We actually just we were there just a few weeks ago. So what she's going to do, because she's not quite ready to make this home yet, she's actually going to purchase a piece of land. She's going to purchase a piece of land, which we're actually in negotiations right now. And when she's ready, she's going to build on it, right? So maybe that's an option as well, because the prices of land are going up. Jackie said, wow, that was great. That was great that you got your buyer an amazing deal for 504. I absolutely cannot wait to meet you in August. You are absolutely the best. Thank you so much, Jackie. And don't get it twisted. Sometimes builders are just there. It just depends, because sometimes builders are like, no, this is the best we got. This is the best we could do, and things like that, right? So my job is to always get you the absolute best deal that I possibly can, and to push as much as I can. Because what's the worst they're going to say is no, right? But it's all good. At least I tried, right? I'm that person that I rather have done it and say that I tried, instead of being like, oh, damn, what if I did this? I wonder how that would have turned out, right? Eileen said, LOL, that's right. Longest relationship, but the best one I ever had. Yes, I love that. It's so crazy. I have so many different types of people who reach out to me. And unfortunately, there's sometimes where I don't meet their expectation, right? And if I've left a bad taste in their mouth or whatever, and I don't know, it just, I'm not saying that I'm 100% perfect, right? But if I mess up on something, or if I didn't meet your expectation and you so if I didn't meet your expectations, because honestly I didn't know what your expectations were, right? But you told me what your expectations are, and if I already left a bad taste in your mouth because I didn't meet that expectations, but because I didn't know what those expectations were, sometimes people are not willing to give you another chance or anything like that, and that's okay, right? But it's always a learning opportunity, right? I'm always trying to get better, guys. I'm not 100%. I'm not perfect. I'm really not. My team is not perfect. We sent a wrong email, and it was nothing, important or anything, but we sent the survey to the wrong email, and my client was like, wait a minute. He said, I'm getting turtles with my house. And I'm like, no, that email was not for you. I'm so sorry, right? Things like that. I mean, I appreciate the flexibility. I appreciate the grace, right? I'm growing. I'm growing my team. I'm growing my staff, right? And there's always learning curves. And unfortunately, it's always reflected on me, right? But it is what it is. We're going through the growth, and I'm super excited. Okay, hold on. Jay Robinson said, I've been watching you for a while and am preparing to purchase before retiring from the government, moving from Northern Virginia. I will be reaching out to schedule an appointment. Thank you so much, Jay. I really appreciate that. Hi, James. Hi, Nika. Pedro said, it's very stressful to wait for a seller after making an offer. Yes, I absolutely agree. JP said, who attends the home inspection? Just the seller, or do you go also? So I do not go to any inspections. The reason why I do not go, and I'm going to tell you on both sides, right? So I don't go to the inspection on the buyer side because it's just not worth my time, right? I could be doing way more other things than sitting in the house for 2 hours. There's nothing that I'm adding value to for the inspector, right? Because the inspection happens, it takes about 2 hours, 2.5 hours sometimes, right? And they're going to give us the report at the end of the day, right? Literally that same day, they're going to give us the report. Now we're going to go over the report. If we have any questions, we call the inspector and they explain it to us. I do not go to inspections. It's just not worth my time. I'm not adding any value there, okay? The inspectors are the experts. They're the ones, I'm just getting in their way, right? So I don't do that. I get the inspection report. I go over it with my clients. If we have any like uncertainty, if we're not understanding anything, the inspectors are always available for a call and we have that discussion. That's it. Now I do go to the walkthroughs, right? Or if they make a walkthrough, but I'm not available because they didn't ask me if I was available, but they made that time, I will have an extension of myself at the walkthrough. But I try to make all of my walkthroughs because I know I like to go to the walkthroughs. I like to make sure that everything is good for my clients. Now, on the seller side, if I'm representing the seller, I never go to, if the buyer's if the buyer hired an inspection company, I'm not at that inspection, because what happens is that number one, if you start hearing things and if there's something wrong, then that means that now I have to tell the seller has to disclose that, but we don't even know what exactly is wrong. Like there's just too much liability in that aspect for me to be there, and I'm representing the seller. The buyer's agent could be there or should be there if the house is not vacant. If the house is vacant, then the inspector normally just goes, does their thing, and that's it. Jose said, how can someone get the deposit after few extensions and the buyers fail to close? So that is going to, so even if you are per contract, you are, what's that word? You are, what's that word? That is available to you, that's your money essentially, because we are, let's say that their financing period has expired, they didn't extend that or anything like that, it's still a fight, right? Like we still have to go through mediation with the title company. So it's not, and especially if the buyers are trying to fight for it as well, even if technically the terms say that it's forfeited, right? It's still a fight, but we would have to go with through the title company to be able to go to mediation and come up with a conclusion. Kelly said, I'm not ready to buy yet, but you are my person and I would like to start looking at homes now, but not take your time. How can I do this without jeopardizing you being my realtor? I really appreciate that, Kelly. So you just kind of, I would still say that you schedule an appointment with so that we can talk on the phone or via Zoom, so that I have an idea of what you're looking for. I can give you recommendations and then I can register you as my client. And so when you decide to, move forward whenever, I will be your real estate agent. But I need to register you prior to you actually going to that builder, that community. Janet said, you are human. No one is perfect. Yeah, definitely not. And like I said, there are stuff that I'm just like, okay, well, I missed that, right? And it's not nothing that is super important or like detrimental, right? But I'd be like, okay, I think I could get better in this, right? Or okay, I can agree to that and I can get better here, right? And I'm always I'm always trying to evolve and just become better and have my team become better and my staff become better, right? So JP said, true, review the report. I don't know what that means, JP. But yeah, I always review the report. That is my job. I go over it with my buyers. We talk about what we're going to ask the sellers to address, right? Because if you're doing a resale home, they're most likely not going to address like cosmetic items. But if there's like big items, then that's something that we're going to bring to the table. We're going to try to negotiate that. If the seller is just adamant about no, then we have the right to cancel. In breach of contract. Yeah, in breach of contract, but you still have to go through mediation. Like, it's not okay, you're in breach of contract and you get the money. They still, if the buyers are going to try to fight for it, then we still have to go through mediation. I think I've said it before. I have a deal that's happening right now that it's one of the worst deals that I've ever have been a part of. And it's not on our side, it's on the buyer's agent side and the lender. So the buyer's agent chose the lender. The buyer's agent is new. The lender is just non-communicative. It's just been a real big headache. And that's so not that it's funny, but when I was just side note, when I was getting my hair done yesterday, my hairstylist was like, "Oh, you lost a lot of hair. Are you under stress?" And I was like, "Am I under stress? What? Of course I'm under stress." I was like, "I'm working on not being stressed out, but oh yeah, I am." Because at the end of the day, I have sleepless nights, believe it or not, because I take this to heart. I take it on, right? I take it on because my clients are my people, right? Like, if something's not going right and I have no freaking control over it, and I'm trying to do everything that I possibly can, but we're still not in a good situation, right? It's not, I can't sleep. I don't sleep like a baby at night. I just don't. Like, I hold on to that because I'm like, okay, what can I do? How can I make this work? And all this other stuff. So yeah, I am stressed out. And I got these 6 kids too. Heck yeah, I'm stressed. Karen said, when I bought my house, the seller was supposed to vacate within 10 days, and my lawyer put in a contingency that she had to pay fees every day she had not moved out. Ended up with almost $5,000. Oh wow. Yeah, those get like occupancy after closing. Those get very very tricky. Katrina said the stress is real. Katrina knows. Katrina sees everything, right? And she knows. And she knows that, we do our very best. And like I said last week, I'm like, man, sometimes you get a really bad agent, right? And then, but the lender is good. I got a really bad agent and the lender is crappy. So I got like, I feel like a 2-for-1 right now. And I'm trying to hold everything together because my clients have this beautiful house waiting for them, right? And they're stressed out and they're having sleepless nights and they're spending money on storage and all of that other stuff. Like, so sad of a situation. And it's just like, oh my gosh, it's a double whammy, like Katrina said. It's like I said, it's been very difficult. Very difficult. Wit said, I'm bald. My husband is bald too. Hair is on point. Thank you. Oh my gosh. No, but guys, look, and I know the men probably don't care, but look how it is blended. Like, if you didn't know, like, they don't look like extensions. Like, it's just so blended. She's so talented. That's why I just traveled to Jersey and to make it happen, right? You get what you pay for. I'm a very big believer on that, right? Yes, Karen, too much stress. And I try, I have to really work on not taking it as hard as I do, because it's going to affect my health too, right? Like, my clients are super stressed. They've been in and out of the doctors, and their pressure's freaking high and all this other stuff. I'm going to have an ulcer in my stomach because I'm just like, what the heck, right? And again, and I said this last week, I'm super grateful for Kalesa, for Colin Built, for having so much grace with us, right? Because I'm telling you, another builder would have been like, sorry, I'm about to sell this house for more than what you're under contract for, right? So I'm super grateful for Colin Built for that. Colin Built is the builder, Kalesa Township is the community. But I always just reference it as Kalesa. Your hair looks fantastic. Thank you, guys. Guys, if you love my content, if you love just me, I guess, make sure you like, comment, subscribe, share, right? Tell a sister, tell a brother. We're trying to help a lot of people evolve. I'm super excited what's to come for Evolve Estates Group. Like I said, we're building a team. We're gonna have some more people on my channel. So I'm still gonna be on my channel, guys. I'm not going anywhere. I'm not going anywhere, okay? But I'm going to start bringing people on little by little, little by little. Katrina is definitely the first one. Hold on. Am I asking an illegal question? Did I miss it? Oh, okay. Hold on. Okay, Alberto said, if I buy a house as an investment, how long will it take to make it my primary home? Okay, that's a good question. So I want to say there is a time on there, and I think it's at least, I don't know if it's a year or 2 years. So give me 1 second. Let me ask one of my lender friends. Give me 1 second. And I'll try to have that answer for you. Hey, if someone buys a house as an investment property, how long does it take for them to make it their primary home? Is there a specific time frame? All right, I asked the lender the question. I'm sorry, I don't know that answer particularly. Again, I'm not a lender, but I hope that I can get that answer for you. Janet said, love the content. You better not go away. I can with you, Janet. I'm not going nowhere. But I am going to, I need to grow. I need to grow Evolve Estates group. So that's why I want to bring on agents, and I want to build trust with them and you guys as well, right? So I won't put you guys in bad hands. And Janet, I know you're not going with nobody but me. I know, Janet. I know. Pamela said, I wish I had agents like you. I had the agent from hell thanks to Zillow. Zillow does the paid leads. You think that sometimes you're talking to the actual listing agent, but it's somebody else. And, not all agents are created equally, right? I honestly do the best that I absolutely can. I always put you guys in front. Hold on. I always put your needs above mine, right? All right, Alberto, I think I'm close to your answer. Give me 1 second. But okay, this week, tomorrow's video is in Ocala. We have it of a 4-bedroom, 3-bath home on half of an acre. However, in the video, the lot that I toured, it has a slope down, but they have multiple different lots where the lot doesn't slope down. So that's where, just always keep that in mind. And then Tuesday, I think we're gonna do Haines City, this brand new community, KB Homes. So we're trying to go up to two videos a week again. What do I have this upcoming week? I think I have showings with some clients. What is this? Can you believe that we're in July already? Like, we're about to be in July. Yeah. Yep, I have showings this week. I have a lot. This week is busy. Whit said, my lender said you can buy it in as investment and move into it tomorrow as primary. Can only homestead one property. Okay. That's what Whit's lender said. Alberto said, thank you for answering. My plan is to buy and make it primary home and get a homestead exemption. So yeah, you could only homestead one property. Bye, Arlene. Pamela said, we lost $10,000 on a bad deal. My agent did nothing. I'm so sorry for that, Pamela. Karen said, wait, I know the newest section in Calessa is not building the Hawthorne, but I pray that some future ones will. I need a 1-story home and would love separate living space for my daughter. Have you looked at the Larkspur, Karen? JP, are you a Janet too, meaning that you only want to work with me? Janet said, just saying. I know, Janet, you already made that abundantly clear. I got you. JP said yes. All right, I got you, JP. You guys are so funny. I understand where there's people who Karen said, yes, I have a Lexus. It's on the, yes, I have a Lexus on the list too. Okay, good, good. Yeah, because I think the Larkspur would be a great option as well too, that you can make that into in-law suite. But you never know what's going to happen between now and 2030, right? They might have another phase that has the Hawthorne, or they maybe come up with a new floor plan that has a better in-law suite, or an in-law suite option, right? Hi, Theo. Hey, Will, I have you on live. He's like, I'm on live right now, and I have one of my subscribers. They asked me the question about the investment into a primary. Okay. Okay. I appreciate it. Thank you, Will. Bye. All right. Will said that technically it's a year. However, circumstances change, right? And if circumstances change, circumstances change, right? Like if you bought an investment property, but something happened and you actually need to live in it, and it's your primary residence, right? Like circumstances change. If you bought a property as a second home and now want to move in as a primary residence, can you still get that homestead? Yes, you can. But you just have to make sure that you don't have another residence as a homestead, because you can't have two homesteads. Alberto, I hope that answered your question. All right. I hope you guys have an amazing, amazing week. I know the next weekend is 4th of July. Are you guys going to be on live? What do you guys have planned? Because I don't have anything planned. Like I'm going to, I was going to still I haven't ate, so be careful. I was still gonna have the live because 4th of July is on Friday. If we're gonna do anything, go to the beach or something, that'll be on Saturday. So I'm still good for Sunday. Are you guys still good for Sunday for live? JP said your Sunday live is a no miss show. Thank you. I can't believe that we're coming up on a year that we've been doing the live already. I absolutely love this. I really, 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 really do. I look forward to talking with you guys. I look forward to chopping it up with you guys. I'm just all right, don't forget, Calessa Township, you need to call me first, okay? Don't forget. So please don't show up at Calessa Township without me. Please don't. Especially Calessa Township. Do not show up without me. If you want me to be your realtor. If you don't want me to be your realtor, then, of course, go by all means, right? All right, guys. I don't know. We'll play it by ear. I think I'm gonna be on live. If for whatever reason something happens and I don't freaking know, then I'll just put a post that there's no live. But for now, let's plan that we're gonna have a live next Sunday. Okay. I'm super excited. I love you guys so much. Let me know if you need anything from me. You guys know where to reach me. Have an amazing week.